All right. So we'll turn things over to Stephen for our final talk.
All right, can y'all hear me? Okay, this is a good level. All right, thank y'all. I'm Stephen Deems. I'm at Internet 2 within the research engagement team. And reflecting back on a lot of these topics in these sessions, I feel like this is a nice cleanup presentation. You'll hear some of the things that were mentioned earlier. And to the first presentation, I'm definitely going to try to hone in on that awareness problem, as well as the reducing some of the complexity problem here. So I had just said a little bit ago, I spent most of my career at Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center within Carnegie Mellon University. I was previously the lead investigator for the Access project for allocations and led the allocations process for the NAIR pilot. Can I see a raise of hands for people who know what Internet 2 is? Okay, we're good. I've ran into a lot of people this week that don't know what that is, but having the REN talk first was great, where your campuses connect up to a REN, typically within their state, that connect to the Internet 2 backbone. We operate EduRoam, InCommon, have some other services. But for this presentation, my main objective is to not keep us from lunch. So I'll try to get through this quickly, but really want to highlight the ever expanding resources that are available for free, typically to the U.S. community, and basically have this serve as a crash course for what's out there. And definitely want to illuminate some of the other people behind CI that aren't the researchers, scientists, and people actually doing computation. So I'll talk about cyber infrastructure. We'll talk about software and gateways quickly. We'll go into the federally funded computing environment, talk a little bit about data storage, and wrap up with some networking and security. So cyber infrastructure, we hear a lot. It's really an NSF term, and this is the definition on NSF's website. And definitely want to focus on that people part, right? There are people in the data center. Have plumbers out there for liquid cooling, but people to create accounts, keep track of who's using what. Obviously, general user support, scientific support. But getting further down is where I see a lot happening now in terms of the people actually building education curriculum, doing the training, workforce development efforts, and really the emergence of not only just librarians within a university system, but data librarians and data curators being involved in cyber infrastructure projects. And this slide really is just to illustrate, yes, it's an ecosystem. It's complex. This is not comprehensive. This is a lot of what I'm going to talk about today. I think the only omission there is on the right side, the training and CI professional communities. This could be a presentation, of itself. So I did omit some of that today, but if you're not familiar with CARC, Carpentry, PERT conference, we already talked about campus champions, like definitely check those out. Talk to me outside of this session. But this is really just to illustrate that there's not one person that knows all of this stuff. But Christina talked yesterday about the power of facilitation, being able to point people in the right direction to get some of their questions answered, their problems solved. So for software, if you're not familiar with science gateways and you're supporting domain scientists on your campus, it's a great resource because these are typically web-based portals. So not relying on command line or having people have knowledge of the command line using them, but they're built by domain experts for domain experts. There are more than 600 out there, in the wild. I included some links if you want to browse through those. You can see the presentation materials on the website. And as a lot of us know, like research software is predominantly open source. Depending on who you're supporting on your campus, they may have their own bespoke resources. They may have specific things that they need. They may need different versions. I'm going to point to the blurb in the top where it's, a lot of these packages are already centrally installed on a lot of the infrastructure that's out there made possible by NSF. Again, with a lot of different versions, whether they're deprecated or emerging copies. So let's talk about those computing resources a bit. So this is a busy slide once I get through it, but really tried to break it down into three types of environments. You have cloud-like infrastructure, You have high throughput, which I don't need to talk a lot about this week. And you have HPC systems. I heard Jetstream 2 mentioned yesterday. This is at Indiana. And this is very much like a commercial cloud offering for academic audiences. This is NSF funded. You can spin up persistent databases, web servers, VMs, whatever you need. National Research Platform, I believe, was mentioned yesterday. And a lot of the national centers, again, are out there through the Access program, as well as resources from DOE. I'll talk a lot about Access and NAIR Pilot later, but a lot of these, if not all of these resources, support Jupyter hubs, Jupyter notebooks, etc. So the NSF Access program, it's the newest flavor of NSF funded cyber infrastructure resources. This is this is building on 4 decades of investment by the National Science Foundation. These are where the sites are, the actual computing sites are within Access. This map will soon be out of date as there are new resources coming online later this year. What you can find in Access is various CPUs. Could be different core counts, different processors, various memory sizes on node, and again, cloud resources like Jetstream 2. Various accelerators, GPUs probably being the most popular, but there are FPGAs, there are vector processors available as well. Again, rich sets of software, data repositories are out there, workflow managers like Pegasus and other NSF investments there, as well as, again, the CI professionals to actually help utilize these things. System performance monitoring tools. Preston mentioned XDMod is out there with so much data, it's hard to wrap your head around. But it's likely that folks on your campus are already using Access. So last year they had over 40,000 active accounts and still have room to grow. We have not hit capacity on the availability and Access yet, so come and get it for sure. 2 shout outs to Anvil and Jetstream 2 here is they have a lot of the open source LLMs already installed. They have web user interfaces that look very similar to the models that people are using now. Most of them you don't need an allocation for. You just sign up, get an account, start using it free. The newer program here is the National AI Research Resource. Multiple agencies are contributing to this effort, but it is led by NSF. So computing resources, data sets, AI models, and different learning resources are available. I'll get to some differences here in a little bit, but a lot of commercial offerings are made available through NAIR. And this is solely for US-based institutions. While Access is also for US-based, we do allow international collaborators through Access. In terms of the resources actually available, you'll see a lot of those resources that are available through Access, also available in NAIR, along with these private sector partners. Some have entered, some have built up their commitment. These are in-kind contributions right now for the private sector. There are going to be more coming online soon, so I've heard, can't disclose what those are, but stay tuned. Sign up for the newsletter if you haven't yet to keep up with these changes. Currently, or I guess very recently, NAIR has moved away from a pilot stage, is moving more toward an operational status with an operating center coming out soon. But very similar to Access, there's likely someone on your campus utilizing NAIR already. I think it was Brian Bockelman said yesterday that only one project was using where he was looking at. And I've been giving a lot of these presentations over the years, and this is the biggest question, or the most frequently asked question that comes up is, which do I choose, NAIR or Access? And this is just my answer to this is Access is for long-term research, multi-year research for all project types. And what I mean, any domain, any application, go to Access. It's mainly CPU, GPU, and storage resources. We do have a very high rate of approvals, and it typically takes about 1 business day to get a request approved. after you select resources and pick which platforms you want to get on, it's typically 3 days till you have accounts ready. NARE, given that it's emerging from a pilot, it is very short term right now. They want to have a quick path to results and publication and sharing the outputs of the work. It is solely AI focused. And if possible, it should align with the current focus areas that you can see on the NARE pilot site. A much more diverse set of resources are available, and requests typically take about a week if you're asking for a startup level type of resource request. You have much bigger needs, it'll take longer for that review. I don't think I need to talk too much about these resources this week. You've heard a lot of these today, but there are even more options at NSF beyond the Access program. There is the LCCF that has, I believe Horizon is coming online. Frontera is there currently. So this is very, very large scale compute. NSF NCAR still has their systems out there if you're doing Earth System Sciences or someone on your campus is doing Earth System Sciences, as well as DOE, NASA, and NOAA. You should probably work closely with your program officers on those. For data storage needs, I'll admit it is relatively slim pickings out there. This is the big problem, as a lot of us are aware of. There are options in the NSF space via Access through the Open Storage Network, as well as the Cloud Bank project, which actually has dollars for commercial cloud offerings for NSF funded researchers. We heard a little bit about OSDF, and that's more for data sets that are actively being used on compute resources. So those are out there. The other thing is most of the computing available within Access, within NARE, also have storage facilities attached to them as well. So keep that in mind. When it comes time to publish or preserve data sets, you have RE3. Nature lists some of the requirements for publishing. If there are folks on your campus who are new to that, you can see this link for a very detailed breakdown of what's needed there. And a listing of NIH-funded repositories. I think ones a lot of people are familiar with on the right, Figshare being a big one, Zenodo for publishing data sets and outcomes. And in terms of going beyond individual researchers, you have consortium-like needs or larger needs for preserving data, having a space for that. CCAN and DSpace are two open source products that have been around for multiple decades. Finally, networking and security. Globus, I think, is a fairly commonly known product out there. It is free for individuals to use. Campuses can pay to establish endpoints on their campus, make transfer a little bit easier. And again, leaning heavily probably on the NSF projects here for research security. Trusted CI has a plethora of resources available out there. Through Internet 2 and in Common, there's a lot of informational sessions on identity proofing, which is becoming a bigger concern with changes in research requirements, as well as other again, you can see some of the changes from NSF and NIH on the left side there. And kind of coming back to, the multiple sessions you heard today is the map on the right, is the quilt of regional networks along with the Internet 2 backbone. So again, your campus likely connects up to a regional that connects to the backbone. Again, there's over 40 regional networks in the United States, multiple across the globe. We call them those NRENs. And again, I don't want to hold anybody from lunch, so I can definitely go back if there's any other information you want to see. But my real call to action here is sign up for an account. Sign up for an account on OSPool and Access. Go ahead and request a project. Add your colleagues to them. Tell your colleagues about these resources when you get home. And if this presentation is helpful, point these resources to your departmental staff. I mean, they're going to be the ones that are going to get questions from students typically first, and then faculty. So again, I don't have a lot of answers for the questions that were posed earlier, but I can always say that awareness is always going to be a problem that, you know, we're going to have to fight. We're going to have to do these types of presentations for the foreseeable future. But that's it for me. I thank the organizers. Thank y'all for giving me a time slot here. If anybody wants to connect, there's my contact info. But thank you all very much. How about do? Okay, a couple minutes before lunch.
Can't even go to lunch.
Yeah. I'll chime in with a comment, not a question. It is on, I think.
I
Yeah.
think you're on.
And just say that just to second the data slide, there's so many computing options, but I feel like data is still a lesser explored space in terms of support. This is something we're very interested in. So come talk to us. I think something that I'm really excited about is the OSN. You can request and get this big S3 bucket for storing data. And Pelican, what we produce that connects to the OSDF, has an S3 backend. So I think there's a lot of possibilities, and like an institution could request a bucket, contact us, we help set up the origin because we don't need any, we can do that remotely. And then still give a lot of administrative control of like who creating like subfolders for people to access data. Anyway, this is just on my mind. I really want to see how we can make it work, like what that could look like as a model where people can easily get like a chunk of storage somewhere and then make it into something that's where things are more shareable. I'm sure Brian Bockelman also has 1,000 plans related to FabAid. But I'll just put a plug in there for, you know, to come talk to us about your use cases, because it would be good to know what people would need for that to be useful to them.
And a little bit of a sort of shameless plug. So in your slide where you had the three sort of tiers of compute with cloud computing, high throughput, HPC, that one. So if you have folks that are attending PERC this year, OSPool along with Jetstream and some folks at Purdue are actually putting together a tutorial going over these three sets of types of compute. It's very oriented towards users, facilitators, folks that are trying to navigate this field of cyber infrastructure. And so that'll be a full day workshop at PERC this year. Please share with your folks.
Yeah. Okay. Enough self-promotion. Go ahead, Erwin.
Hello. Yeah, just so you know, is sold out.
Oh, love that.
And yeah, I'm in the wait list. So good luck.
See what we can do. There will also be an OSPool specific tutorial. So OSPool OSDF. But yeah, any other comments or questions or thoughts based on Steven's nice summary presentation?
So not seeing any hands, I want to sort of push the question out to you all, campus folks. Okay, so Stephen just presented a lot of really good information. Perrette, Jason have noted like it's hard to get this information to researchers. How do we take this stuff now and get it out to the people who might be thinking, might be willing to go beyond the resources that they have right in front of them, their laptop? Any thoughts?
I can maybe say this now that no longer a program officer in the room, but money, you start with money and an FTE, right? And I think it's most important you start somewhere, right? We heard referrals to pilot projects and things like that. You definitely need some sort of evangelist along the way, right? And then as you go, you need to build something that has cohesion and can apply to hopefully more than one discipline. But I think the one word answer is money.
And I'll just chime in and say, I think it's a good question. I almost wonder if the other issues that Jason and Perrette have highlighted are more important than pure awareness, but I don't know for sure. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the resource, but I think with all of them, it's helpful to have worked examples that make it really clear for researchers who may not have the most technology background or computer science background. So showing them how to use these resources for their field, for their area of work, really makes it just easier to pick up.
And I want to add just a comment. Really loved your slides. I think maybe one of the gaps that such as this or your slide can fill is, for having been into lots of hiring and onboarding of staff, it typically takes like 6 months to 12 months for somebody to get a full perspective of the whole spectrum of things that are available. So that's probably down the line induces some of the delays. So somehow getting this in front of the workforce development effort might be one step towards like closing that gap as well. So really loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Any other?
Christina, I have one quick, Dave
Oh yeah,
Plonka.
go ahead, Dave.
I just wanted to put in a plug for what WISNet is doing here. We're mimicking the Campus Champions program for a statewide one called STEM Champions for the 500 plus members that WISNet has, which are 80% of the K-12 schools and then 45 higher eds. And the idea is one of the things we read is that a lot of small schools don't consider themselves research institutions. So we're going to try STEM as the keyword instead of research. And then actually following on to the last comment, there's this AI Ready America initiative right now where every state is applying to create a coordination hub. And that also needs this communication network. So we're thinking of taking the AI Ready hub and having like a checkbox to say you're a champion in the state, but you're also interested in signing up for the AI Ready program, which will be national, and there's going to be 60 of them for all the states and territories. So that's the like electronic form of communication, and then we're going to augment that with our meetings and highlighting some of what the successful examples are there. So I guess if you're in Wisconsin, watch for that kind of thing. But I think of it that way, where you literally don't know who the people are on the campuses that need to hear what's available yet.
Some specific examples of what's been positive at Syracuse University for pushing these communications, especially for those who may not be familiar. And we have a really good working relationship with the academic units on our campus. So it's not unusual for us to be part of their faculty hiring process. When they get kind of farther into those interviews, they'll invite someone from our team to not ask questions of the prospective hire, but to answer questions of that prospective hire, to let them know what is available. On the same lines, we are also part of the new faculty orientation event, which is very much like the freshman orientation event when you're 18 years old. They got all these new faculty members kind of wishing that their parents was with them so they can make friends. They come to our tables, and we're also able to provide them information that they may not have had. And lastly, because our research infrastructure is essentially maintained, that any new researcher or research project starts with a 15 to 30-minute conversation with our team to act as a liaison between them and the infrastructure, and we are able to use our past experiences to help inform, where or what type of resource that we have available that would be most helpful for them.
All right. Tim, do you